Behold the source wall. Behind it is the single greatest secret of the universe. This is as far as I dare to go.
Oh,
Yay, we
I did
reached
it.
the
I did
source
intros.
wall.
I think what I need to do is I'm going to have to edit that trailer, the intro, with the 30-second countdown. So that way there's not that like frame of me going in between.
It's kind of becoming a staple of the show at this point.
I know. Yeah, I know. Don't mess with greatness. We had this background last week, so we're gonna switch it up. Should we do this one or this one with the hands?
Let's do this one. I don't know. This one's fine. This one's good.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I didn't know what the other one was. It just looked like a blob to me.
It's a hand. It's the same thing, just one's a closer than the other. So this is the hand. The hand. I guess I can't make it full screen. Oh well, whatever.
I kind of see the hand. Okay, I kind of see.
Yeah, it's like doing this. Yeah.
This I don't know reminds me of like, when the TARDIS would fly through its timey-wimey vortexy stuff. It kind of reminds me of like the animation of the TARDIS flying through.
I don't know what you're talking about. Is that a Doctor Who thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know what the TARDIS is? You do, yeah.
Well, that's why I thought it was. That's why I knew it was Doctor Who related, but I don't know what everything else you said.
I mean, he travels through time in that blue box thing.
Is that what it does?
Yeah, that's what it does. It travels through time.
Huh. That's cool.
It's a time travel show, see?
Like Bill and Ted?
Kinda. Not really.
Okay.
He's an alien time traveler.
Oh, interesting. I've seen I'm sure I've seen a couple episodes of Doctor Who. I think I did, but it was like really early on, post aneurysm, and I didn't really get into it too much, but I liked this character named Jack, and then I went and watched a show called Torchwood. Yeah, and I fell in love with Torchwood, so that's like my only exposure to Doctor Who.
Well, Jack is a great character. He's in the Rose era, I think.
Rose.
Everyone loves Jack and Rose.
Jack and Rose it is. What's up, Andrew? How's it going tonight, sir?
We're chilling.
Yeah, we are chilling. We're low energy tonight, but it's because we're recording later and on a day that is not our usual day.
Yeah.
This was last minute, so I was driving to work this morning, and on my way there, I get a text from my boss. I was running late, by the way, too, because Echo has not been feeling well lately. So I've been kind of just hanging out with him and keeping an eye on him. So this morning I laid with him and we actually fell asleep again. And then I set an alarm and I was like, oh shoot, my alarm went off. I slept through the first one and the warning one went off. So I got up and I ran out of the house. And then my boss texted me when I was like, heading down the road. I was actually on the phone with Gene. And he says, hey, I don't need you today. It's slow. And I said, oh, cool. So I get an extra day off. He goes, well, no, I need you tomorrow. And I was like, oh, but I was off tomorrow. And he's like, yeah, so can you come in tomorrow? And I'm like, sure. So then I'm like texting Alex, like, hey man, can you do the show tonight? So yeah.
Yeah, you hit me right as I was like walking into the gym. So I was like sitting in the parking lot where there's reception. And I was like, let's do it tonight. I gotta go fight.
Gotta go fight. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, you had jiu-jitsu tonight and stuff. So I was like, so thank you for making time for this, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm happy to watch superhero movies with you, Seek. Oh God, what a terrible fate you've doomed me to.
I'm a bad friend.
Damn you.
Real quick, we'll catch up on Andrew's comments here. He says, yes, like Bill and Ted, only it's been running for over 50 years. Okay, so Bill and Ted's like it. And I suggest you start with Chris Eccleston's run. Well, that's nice of you. I am never going to watch Doctor Who, but thank you for recommending it.
And you should start with David Tennant's run.
Look at this.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, geez.
The David Tennant, Matt Smith stuff is essential.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, Christopher Eccleston, start at the beginning. Those are so fun. They're so campy and so fun. It's like watching like rubber suit fill-ins.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a charmy, campy nature to it, and there's lots of clever writing. I don't know. It captures a sci-fi nostalgia I have for some reason.
Interesting. Well, on our next episode of Doctor Who, Source Wall, we'll talk about it. But this is the Beyond the Source Wall.
Oh yeah,
But
we'll talk about DC as I wear my Marvel Thor shirt
and
and
I
you
get my
wear your Umbrella Academy shirt on.
it's Resident Evil Umbrella Corporation. Okay,
Oh, Umbrella Incorporated. I'm sorry.
no, Corporated.
I got a Sean
No,
Murphy drawing behind me. He does Batman. That's DC related.
Andrew
It's not
has.
a Batman drawing, but I could put a Batman drawing there.
You could. Andrew has a pre-cataract surgery measurement appointment in a week, so in spite of supposed to be safety of the set of surgeries, have low-key freakouts. Well, hey, good luck with everything, man. Hopefully everything goes well with that and keep us posted. And if you're able to check in with us next week, Alex and I will be watching the Snyder Cut next Thursday in 3 parts. So we talked about it before we did the live stream tonight. Grace Randolph had Zack Snyder on the other day, and he talked about the best way to watch the Snyder Cut in increments. And so he said after part 2, because there's 7 parts to his movie. So after part 2, which is like an hour and a half in, he said stop there, take a break, and then after part 4, it's another hour and a half later, take a break, and then watch the last hour because it's the final act. It's all the big action. So Alex and I are going to spread out watching the Snyder Cut next Thursday. But since Alex is off of school and I'm off of work that day, we might start a little bit earlier in the day. If that's
we could
okay.
start at like noon.
That's fine with me. And then that way we'll be done by
Start at 5
noon the
a.m.
next day. Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. We could if you wanted to.
Yeah, we could have breakfast and watch the Snyder Cut.
We'll make breakfast. We'll have popcorn and M&Ms for breakfast.
Popcorn and M&Ms for breakfast.
So yeah, so we'll see. So, but yeah, the Snyder Cut could be good or a train wreck depending on if anyone is there to rain. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm not. If anyone comes into the chat and is like an a-hole, I'll just start booting people. Because Alex and I, we're just gonna have fun. We just want to watch it and just give our reaction to it. Which will be fun. But I don't have any cool DC stuff this week. I thought I would actually try to stay at the 10-minute marker and actually start the episode.
Yeah, I was like, we gotta retroactively make up time.
Yeah, no, because I don't have anything. They announced a panel for the Justice Society animated movie that'll be coming up the weekend of the 27th of March. But we'll talk more about that maybe next week. So that's it. That's all the news.
Good.
Yeah. So, all right, man. So Andrew will respond when we can, but mainly our focus is we'll be watching the movie and talking about the movie. We have Green Lantern First Flight. So if you all out there who are watching this with us, if you have the DVD, the Blu-ray, the digital copy, whatever, or if you can watch it on HBO Max with us, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to have fun. So like always, I'll do the countdown 3, 2, 1, and on 0, we hit play. So Alex, you tell me if you're ready.
I am all good.
All right, so here we go, guys. Thanks for being here. 3, 2, 1, 0. Yeah. So we got the.
Oh, this movie's PG-13.
Yeah, dude.
I'm allowed to watch that.
Warner Brothers popping in. Interesting fact. I love this theme song, by the way. This is the only movie out of all the DC animated movies where I own the soundtrack.
Oh, really?
I love this soundtrack. It's so good.
Is it's done by someone special, or?
So I think this person does a lot
Trent
of DC animated. It's not Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor doesn't do all the DC animated movies.
Trent,
yeah. He's still got a lot of heights to climb, then, doesn't he?
All right, Andrew, let's go. I love how, because he's a dick. He's not he's not a Guy Gardner dick. He's a different kind of dick, but he's so likable.
He's just kind of a smartass. What got you into Green Lantern? Is it what about the character do you like?
Well, when I was a kid, I grew up on Air Force bases and Navy bases, and I've seen a lot of pilots. So I always wanted to fly. I always wanted to be a pilot when I was a kid. And when I read Green Lantern, actually, funny thing was my first Green Lantern comic was called Mosaic, which is a very weird Green Lantern comic. And it stars John Stewart, who is not a pilot. He's a Marine, but he had that military background. And I kind of was like, well, that's what I grew up around, was just military people. So I liked it for that aspect. And then when I got introduced to Hal, during the Death of Superman story a couple years later, I fell madly in love with Hal. I liked. He
Something about
reminded me
his
a lot of.
cheekbones.
Well, no, I mean in the sense that like he felt like an old school adventure action star, like that was in like the Rocketeer, or which was a big movie out at the time,
Okay.
or Indiana Jones, and or even like Maverick from Top Gun. He felt like one of those kind of action stars.
I could understand that. That's kind of a cool thought that he like, especially the Indiana Jones type character.
He does, but he
He
also
does kind of have that like Nathan Drake from Uncharted feel to him sometimes.
Indiana Jones has this thing where he's like he doesn't really have a plan. He kind of makes things up as he goes along. Is the
Yeah.
phrase. Hal's very much like that, but also Hal reminded me a lot of Cary Grant, who was like a famous actor way back before both of our times. Um, and I kind of really liked that about Hal. And he kind of had this Dean Martin thing, Cary Grant thing going. He just seemed like a classic dude, and I always liked that about him. And I always also liked about him that he, like for example, the Green Lantern ring. In the beginning in the comics, they kind of made it to where it was like you
He
have to
gets
be
kind of
chosen.
a Sailor Moon transformation here.
Yeah, I love the transformation. But they had this thing where it's like you had to be chosen, like Mjolnir, like lifting Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
You get to be chosen. That changed around the late 80s and early 90s, where it didn't really matter if you were like pure of heart or anything. Um, you could be a Green Lantern and still kind of be a dickhead.
Oh,
And
they let jerks be Green Lanterns. They were like,
as,
oh,
as
we can't
long as
find enough nice people.
as long as they had the ability to overcome fear, that was kind of the catch, was that, and you really could only do that if you kind of were a good person. So there's still a little bit of a worthy element there, but they tweaked it, and I kind of always like that. By the way, Abin Sur, the guy who just died, is my favorite Green Lantern, next to John Stewart.
Does he ever come back to life through like the Lazarus pit or something?
I think he's a Black Lantern during Blackest Night at one point.
Oh, he gets corrupted or it gets
But
possessed or whatever.
but they've told a lot of flashback stories with him. For example, he was the Green Lantern of Sector 2814, which is Earth. He was the Green Lantern protecting Earth during the Wild Wild West days. So there's
That's
actually
cool.
there's some great comics that they did in this book in the 90s called DC Legends, where it's like a couple issues of Abin Sur in the Wild West as a Green Lantern.
Is he like a Green Lantern cowboy? Or is
Um,
he like a still like strictly a Green Lantern?
yeah, no, he's like a stoic like police cop from space in a fish out of water setting of cowboys.
That's pretty fun. I kind of like that.
It's really awesome. Um,
Man, you'd love to see like a story of him and like Lobo.
oh yeah, there's been. I mean, they've definitely interacted before, but I mean, mainly Lobo interacts with Superman a lot. But yeah, that's a fun story. Lobo, I think, at one point had. I think he tried to steal a Red Lantern ring at one point.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which was pretty
Lobo,
awesome.
Lobo with Green Lantern powers. I like that twist.
And Lobo has a dog, and it fought. I think it fought the Red Lantern cat in one of the comic books.
Oh, I didn't even say it fought Crypto.
No, but it has. I think in the comics, it has. I believe. Um,
The only like reference of Crypto I have was like when I was a kid. There was like a childhood superhero cartoon, and they had like a puppy Crypto in it.
right, right.
And that's the only reference I have of Crypto, the super dog. He would always be there to save the day for childhood Superman.
There was Crypto the Super Dog, Streaky the Super Cat.
Streaky
Um,
the super cat, yeah.
I think there's a turtle. I think Beppo the monkey, and and I think Supergirl had a horse, which creepily enough turned into a guy and kissed her on the mouth one time.
What?
And then turned back into a horse and actually had a thought bubble come out of him and say, little does Supergirl know I was the guy who kissed her earlier. And you're like, what the hell?
That's so creepy. That's such a creepy horse.
Yeah.
That horse needs to go to the glue factory. That's
Yeah. Hal is a wise ass, a likable guy, but a definite wise ass. He's definitely a wise ass, for sure. And Andrew said he liked Green Lantern because Space Cops is honestly appealing, which I agree to. What do you have any interest in Green Lantern as a character? Because most people don't. Like when I bring up Green Lantern, they go, "Really, him?"
I mean, I don't have a problem with Green Lantern. I like when he shows up.
Yeah.
I would read Green Lantern stories. I don't know, recommend some. Whenever I ask you for recommendations, you're like 52 or something.
Well,
You didn't recommend the Green Lantern. See, this is your fault.
Well, the reason I didn't recommend Green Lantern is because I felt like you should learn. I don't think there's any good point in Green Lantern lore that is a good jumping on point. Like everything feels like it's picking up from the previous story.
Oh, it's like trying to get into Warhammer.
yeah, it's like a little too far in. Whereas 52, I'm like, oh, this will be nice because you'll get introduced to a lot of characters.
Magic.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Bam, Hal's strong. He's not. He's not a cat or lantern. He's got kind of an idea of what this is.
Kinda. So this movie that we're watching is what the live action movie should have been more like, which is Training Day in space. And that's what it should have been. It should have been Sinestro coming to Earth to find the body of Abin Sur, seeing that his ring went to a human, then bringing the human up to space to solve the murder of Abin Sur. That's what the movie should have been. But it was the opposite of that.
That's a pretty good idea, Seek. I like that.
It's not my idea. I think literally someone pitched it that way originally.
And then they were like, "No, we need Galactus."
Yeah,
Galactus, Jesus.
Goofiness. Not Galactus. Yeah.
I don't know why I said Galactus. But what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought.
You did.
Oh, the first time I only saw the Green Lantern live action movie once. And it was in college when I was like really sick. I had like a bad cold.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I got nothing to do. I know it's bad. I might as well just watch it and see what it's like. It was years after it had come out.
Okay.
And going in with such low expectations, I was like, it's corny and goofy, but yeah, whatever. It was knowing it sucks, it wasn't that bad.
Green Lantern, when I post ANEURYSM, there was a book coming out while I was kind of recovering from everything that Jeff Johns and Pete Tomasi were writing called Brightest Day, which was the follow-up to Blackest Night. And that's where they introduced the White Lantern. And the White Lantern brought back 12 people, some good and some bad. It brought these 12 people back from the dead for 1 year. And it gave them a mission. And it said each person had a different mission. And they said, if you complete your mission by the end of this year, you will get to continue to live. And if not, you go back to the land of the dead. So Deadman and Hawkman and Hawkgirl, and there's a bunch of characters. Like I said, a dozen of them, Maxwell Lord. All of these characters got brought back, and they had to do something special in their year so they can continue to live. So I really gravitated to that as someone who, like, quite literally got a second chance at being alive. So I was really loving Brightest Day. And that led me to Comic-Con the year after my aneurysm when I went back to California. And I got to tell Jeff Johns in front of a full crowded room that that what Green Lantern meant to me and what Brightest Day meant to me. And that got an article written about me on Bleeding Cool, which Gene Hoyle read. And then Gene Hoyle, who's also a big Green Lantern fan, found me on Facebook and befriended me. And that's how me and Gene became friends.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Gene stalked you on the internet and was like,
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna cuddle up to this guy. We met eating dinner.
What's that?
You and I met eating dinner.
Yes, we did at Comic-Con.
Yep, at Comic-Con.
Yeah. Hey, J Money, what's up? Let me catch up on a couple comments here. Jerks being allowed in does explain Sinestro. Exactly. I love this scene here that we just saw where you have the Guardians who have been around since the beginning of the time. In the comics, they originally didn't have any names. But in this movie, you'll realize they're all Apialiapsa is one of them, Ganthet, Sade. Those are their names, but they didn't have names originally. It was forbidden for them to identify themselves.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did they wear like masks?
No, they just all dressed the same, and you just couldn't tell them apart.
Oh, okay.
But over the years, different artists added flourishes and started giving them identities.
Yeah, it was like this one's bald, this one has more hair,
right.
This one's completely bald,
right?
This one has a slightly bigger jaw.
But I love that scene where they all go like, "Look, human, no, we didn't pick you. Like the ring you just happen to be in the right place at the right time. Like, so give us the ring back." And he goes, "All right, take it, you bald sons of bitches." Like he's like, I don't want this shit. Send me back to Earth. I'm perfectly fine being a pilot for the military. And I like that Sinestro likes that about him. He's like, yeah, this guy's an asshole.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, we need more of those.
Yeah, we could use another asshole.
And it turns out he's not actually an asshole. He just plays an asshole.
Plays one on TV.
Plays one on TV, but he's really a hero. He's a hero, Seek.
Well, he has the makings to overcome fear, which is very important in the story.
Heroic trait.
Well, it's the proper trait for this to defeat the evil that's in this story.
Mm-hmm. As a hero would.
Ace the Bad Hound, yes, that's right. That's another one. Creepy Horse, definitely Creepy Horse. John Stewart from Justice League Cartoon is good. The Jeff Johns run on Green Lantern is pretty much amazing. It is. I mean, yeah, if I was going to recommend one, I would say Jeff Johns. It's an easy one to throw at you, but it starts with Green Lantern Rebirth, which is about how Jordan coming back, but you're going to be like, well, how did he die? Like, you'll have a lot of questions.
Maybe I'll read Blackest Day, Brightest Night, Blackest Night, Brightest Day. Whatever that one is.
Don't worry about it. Oh, Andrew hated Brightest Day. What the...
No offense. I think offense was taken.
No, it's fine. It's we welcome other opinions here. I love Hal in this movie too. He's a proper dick. Yeah. Hal Stan, he doesn't care about rank and stuff. I mean, that's how he treats his military superiors. Like they're like, "Hey, Hal, do this," and he's like, "Eat shit."
Yeah, like that's why he's not a general. He's just so good that they're like, we can't let him go.
Well, the thing is, he's a test pilot, and they literally just give him all the crap jobs because he destroys property. Like they don't even want to work with him. Like, but every plane he's in, he crashes and he survives, and they're just like, this guy's he's just a liability.
They're like, why do we keep him? And he's just like, vroom vroom. It's like, got any experimental snow skis? I'm going on vacation.
Do you have any questions about Green Lanterns, like how it all works or anything?
What is go over all the colors. I know the colors aren't necessarily important. I need to know all of them for this movie. I don't need to know all of them for this movie, but
yeah. So basically,
what are the ones that I know? I know Green Lanterns is like force of will, right?
Right. It's basically you have the will to like overcome things in your life. Like I said, fear is a big one, or overcoming obstacles, willing yourself to do things, being proactive. Like those are all qualities of the ring.
People who make lists would probably be
and check them off.
Yeah, people who make lists and then complete their lists are the makings of Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
Stay in school, kids.
And then yellow is the ability to instill fear or cause fear in others. So like Batman, for example, is a good. He'd make a great Yellow Lantern. In fact, at one point, a yellow ring showed up to try to recruit him,
Oh, that's
uh,
kind of cool.
and
I would
he
like
was
to
like,
see Yellow Lantern Batman.
he was Yellow Lantern for like 2 pages, and then he ripped the ring off, and it was like no, and the ring was like weird, like it was confused because it's like, well, no one's ever turned down a ring before, and Batman's like, get off me, and because he had the will to refuse it, it was like,
Would
okay,
the
you're
ring
maybe.
turn him evil?
No, it doesn't turn you. It's weird. Like the rings mostly keep you who you are, but it enhances something. So, like Sinestro, for example, he's afraid of losing his planet, so he has fear. So that allowed the parallax or the yellow entities in to where they could be like, oh, they could kind of warp his perception. So it builds off of that fear. So it doesn't really make you evil. It just kind of enhances the fear or the emotion that you already have.
Huh.
But in a lot of cases, like fear, you'll essentially be evil because you'll be doing things that inflict fear on people.
Because, well, I mean, unless you're Batman.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're Batman, who pushed it away. But what I love about this is like these aliens look like aliens. Like what I
Yeah,
hate
they
most.
do. They're not just like a person with a horn, a person with
Right,
a longer nose. Oh, look, that person has tattoos.
right.
Oh, look at
Um,
those pointy ears.
I love her voice is alien, like her skin, like it folds in ways that, yeah, her fingers. It's like it's so she's very alien, even though she has 2 legs and 2 arms. But the other ones, they had like one guy had like 6 legs coming out of his back. It's like I love that.
Yeah, they all look kind of unique.
But check this scene out. This is what we mean about training day. So this is a drug, and like a dirty cop, he's literally making her do the drug to get answers. And yeah, so he's just gonna get her high so
He's
that
like,
she'll open up.
okay, I'm gonna shoot you up with heroin,
Right, pretty
just
much.
because I know you'll probably talk on heroin.
That's what he's doing. Check it out. Look at that, and binds it to her. Yeah, I mean, how dark.
Yeah, that is pretty dark. Where he's just like, keep hitting the pipe.
Right. He's like he puts like another needle in your arm.
Yeah, he's like, I got plenty of them here.
Right. Yeah. He's like stringing her out. It's like it's such a. I mean, but it's perfect because that's why I love Sinestro. He's bad cop.
And Hal's like,
Oh, he can't take it. I mean, you're watching someone get drugged in front of you.
yeah, all these guys look alien.
Yeah, I love it. The designs are so. I love that.
Yeah, and he's like super fluid in his movements. He's kind of worm-like.
Right, he moves like a squid underwater.
They all got weird, different guns.
Right. Yeah, this movie's awesome. I love this movie. The Yellow Lantern ring would have tried to teleport Batman. That's true. Yeah. This alien stakeout. It's fun. I mean, this is what I like about this. It's like a cops in space. Like that's what Andrew and I were saying earlier. It's like that's probably the most appealing thing about Green Lantern. He's not always portrayed that way in the comics. Like they say he's, policing Sector 2814, but a lot of writers don't really treat it that way. But one thing I like that Jeff Johns did was he literally wrote Hal like a beat cop. Like Sector 2814 is his beat. So it's like, all right, dude, here's your part of the universe. You gotta police the Milky Way galaxy. And he's like,
It's
okay.
kind of funny.
Yeah, it's just
The Milky Way galaxy, jeez.
yeah, that's the whole galaxy. Our whole Milky Way galaxy is Sector 2814. But funny thing is, Tomar Ray, who we met earlier, he is the protector of Sector 2815, which is our sister sector, which is just beyond our galaxy, and that's where Krypton was. So
Oh,
there's actually a really great story where Superman talks and meets Tomar Ray, and Tomar Ray apologizes for not being able to stop Krypton from exploding.
well, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
This looks like like it just looks like a fun, weird alien market. The whole environment looks nice.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a sludgy yellow water and like
I think the only problem with Green Lantern is like they're a little ex machina in a way. Like they're the ultimate problem solvers.
well, yes and no because their rings have limits. They run out of power, so they have to recharge. Um, they have their own little carrying lantern to recharge if they need to, which is kind of connected to the big um, battery on Oa. But from time to time, they do have
Do
to
they
go
have to
recharge
take
that
off the
battery.
ring to charge it?
No, no, it can stay on them.
Oh, it just have to be in proximity. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
photosynthesis.
right. Yeah, I mean, because it's charged by light, so it's. Um, that's smart
And
ass
it's like,
smile.
I got a bazooka.
He's like bazooka time. Boom.
He's really dropping the thunder.
But I also like this because I think one thing that's really neat about Green Lanterns, even with John Stewart, who's like a very sure of himself kind of guy, all of the Green Lanterns have some emotional weakness that, but they also underestimate themselves, and that's what I really like about all the Green Lanterns is that they all underestimate their their potential. And so how you saw him, he just took down the bad guy, and he kind of was like, "Huh, "This is kind of cool."
He's like, I enjoy this. I
Yeah.
like being a space cop. That was fun. I got to chase a guy. I had to go in a sewer, but
I love this.
I like the subtle differences in their uniforms too.
Yes, they're all black and green, but they're black and green in different areas.
I love how Hal gets a mask, but Sinestro's like, why? It's just my face. Like, who
Yeah, I
gives a
think
shit?
Hal literally does it instinctively because the humans ran up to him in that scene when he dropped the ship off, and it just was like, boom, and he's like, just to protect his identity. But
Who's
he also makes it glow so people can't really see the details of his face.
who's the squirrel guy hiding
Well,
his
there it could be
identity from?
two. I think one of the squirrels' name was Chip at one point, but I think there's another. Not the other one's not named Dale. Hey Christian, what up, dude?
Oh, that's such a gross meal, Hal. I'm so sorry that that's what you
Yeah,
have to eat.
that one farted. He poked it and it farted.
Yeah, like you think they'd have better food as protectors of the galaxy. Like there'd be people who'd be like, "Yeah, we'll feed you."
Yeah,
Like Hal can't get a steak.
yeah, I know they have all this other alien food, but nobody likes Earth. Like 2814 is kind of it's not a sector that is given to like the best Green Lanterns. Like
Yet the 2814 constantly saves the universe.
well, that's yes, right. It's a constant pain in the ass.
Where it's like whenever there's a problem, it's 2814 to the rescue.
Right. So you must be a Red Lantern because you're Alex, the red poo one.
Well, I was trying to do like a Star Wars thing, like Red One.
like a C. That's your C3PO.
Yeah. Well, no, like my call sign if I was like a X-wing pilot.
Uh,
Red Poo One, going in for a bombing run.
that's a good point. Andrew says, "Yeah, but to be fair, when has cafeteria food ever been good?"
Man, I'm trying to think. It really, that's a good point. Cafeteria food is usually terrible. Unless you're at one of those like high end fancy cafeteria hipster places now. The color yellow. Anything yellow was
Anything else?
anything yellow was the weakness of this
This
entity.
is such a hard concept to bring to people, um, because it's very like Silver Age, like the whole. Because originally, Green Lantern was Alan Scott, and he's gone by many names, Sentinel and other things, but Green Lantern was his first hero name, and his weakness as a Green Lantern was wood. Wood was his weakness. Um,
Would
so
he couldn't fight in forests.
right, so in number in this in like the 50s and 60s when Hal Jordan started popping up, or 40s, late 40s and 50s 60s, they Silver Age, they were like, all right, let's do a new thing. So they came up with the color yellow, and they're like, okay, so it's a yellow energy beam, much like the green one is an energy beam, so it just they conflict or whatever. And then
So
over
Bruce
time,
Lee would be the ultimate weapon there.
well, he doesn't shoot yellow beams, but yeah, there was at first it was just the color yellow. And then they made it yellow beams. It had to be a beam like the way the Green Lanterns work. And then it became about fear and emotions. And so it's evolved over the years, but it's a really hard sell sometimes.
Yeah, the Alan Scott was afraid of wood, and
I mean, it's a
these
step up.
cosmic beings could be killed by the color yellow.
Right. There's literally a Batman comic where Batman and Robin paint the entire room they're in and each other yellow. And then Hal Jordan comes in and they start talking, and then Hal punches Batman, but then his ring doesn't work, so Batman like beats the crap out of him. So stupid.
That's such a weird. I think that's just like someone being like, "Look how dumb this is."
Right. So you got to really figure it out. Like I don't envy the people trying to make the new movie and the new TV show. I don't envy them because it's a hard sell. You're gonna have to
What
update it again.
what if they kept that in there, that like he was terrified of wood. Like it was just some terrible phobia.
Well,
It was an
they can't
Alan
really do
Scott
that
movie.
now. They can't do that now because, not to make a joke out of it, but Alan Scott is gay. So you can't have him be afraid of wood.
Well, he could be afraid of lumber or trees.
It doesn't matter either way because now they changed his like everything. So I don't even think
Wait,
his power.
Alan Scott? Like I remember seeing Alan Scott in like DC animated shows. Like
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
gay now.
yeah. In recent years, and since the New 52, they've updated. Well, yeah, that's the
I'm
trait they
so
added.
behind. Who's he
Um,
dating? Who's his husband?
well, his husband I think passed away, or the guy he was in love with passed away.
Oh, Alan Scott.
But Alan, before he fell in love with that guy, had was hiding that he was gay, and he had two kids, um, Jade and
How do you
Ophidia.
manage that?
Well, he had sex with a woman,
Well,
probably.
I mean, who's the woman? Who is the
I
parent? Was
I
it
can't remember
Wonder?
her name. Yeah, it's
It'd be
one lady.
funny if it was Wonder Woman. She's like, I get it. It's
He-
fine.
No, he was married to her, and then like he like struggled with who he was. It's like, did you ever watch? You watch Doom Patrol?
I've seen like one episode. It was
There's a
too much
story.
like Umbrella Academy for me.
Well, reverse that. You mean Umbrella Academy is too much like Doom Patrol for you?
Well, either with the TV shows
Oh, gotcha.
were too similar for me to enjoy them.
Um, yeah, old joke. Andrew says a sharpened pencil could best any Green Lantern.
It doesn't even
Take
need to be
this.
sharpened.
Take this. Well, yeah, it doesn't have to be sharp, I guess. That
Yeah,
just
it's just
helps
like
with stab.
they were like, haha. Like a IKEA desk is a terrifying prospect to a Green Lantern.
Right. I like this. God, I'm blanking on this guy's name right now, but he's a
Squid
character from the comic books too. This guy um,
Squidward.
was that. No, yeah. um, I can't blanking on his name, but he's appeared in comic. I think pre-Crisis, and then also maybe some of the '90s series. Um, but so yeah, I mean, you've seen since the beginning of this movie that Sinestro has a darker side. He, obviously, but now you're seeing that
Yeah, he shot a
he
woman up
has
with heroin.
Right. But now he has like informants. Like he's making deals with dealers and drug dealers, like this guy,
With
like arms
Squidward.
dealers. So he's very much like Denzel Washington in Training Day, like big time. He crosses that line. He's like Vic Mackey in The Shield.
Wow. I mean, yeah, that would be a fun interpretation of the movie. Kind of, it'd be fun to like have kind of a buddy cop aspect to it too.
Yeah.
Oh, Hal Jordan.
Ooh. So earlier you asked me about colors. Red is rage.
Red is rage.
Blue is hope.
Hope. Okay.
Um,
Obama would be blue. That makes sense.
I'm talking about real hope.
Real hope. I don't think that exists. I
Yeah.
don't know what you're
Well,
talking about.
it does because they're the Blue Lanterns are very spiritual beings.
So they're like the Buddhists
Kind of.
of the Green Lantern or of the Lantern Corps.
A little bit, yeah. There's also the pink lanterns, the Star Sapphires.
What are they?
Um,
What's their?
love.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
How does that work? How do you just have like an actual like? I love everybody.
Well, that was actually something they explored a little bit with the Predator, which is the entity of the Pink Lanterns. So Pink Lanterns always thought, oh, we're love. That's a good thing, right? But like there are like serial killers who love their victims, right? So they actually addressed that there has been times where they love too much and it's like creepy. Um, and the rings had to be put in check because of that. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That is kind of a cool side story there.
Orange, there's only one orange lantern, just one.
Is it Mace Windu?
No, the orange lanterns are greed.
Oh,
So
Greed. Who became Greed?
it's like a made up character. His name's Larfleeze, and he's basically like if Daffy Duck became a something. He's like wacky because he's been driven crazy. There was a bunch of orange lanterns, but he killed them all. So he just lives in a room with all the rings on the ground, and he has his ring. So his ring now, because every Green Lantern ring they can charge up to like 100%. That's the capacity, obviously. But when you're the only ring active, Larfleeze can charge up to like 1.5 million%.
So
So
he becomes like super powerful.
he's super powerful, but he's crazy. So he doesn't really use the power the way of like a villain with focus would.
He's
Um,
sort of aimless with his
yeah.
outbursts.
He just wants things. So like he's the first person when the black rings show up in the Black Lantern story. He's the first person to see a Black Lantern ring and go, "Ooh, gimme!" Like
What do the Black Lantern rings do?
the Black Lantern rings bring back the dead, but only the dead that will elicit an emotional response in you. So if you're a Green Lantern or a Blue Lantern and you're fighting, for example, Dick Grayson was Batman during this time when the Blackest Night story was happening because Bruce Wayne was gone. So the Black Lanterns that came back were his acrobat parents, and he had to like outrun or defeat the corpses of his parents.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe I won't read that.
it's really dark, um, but it's also really good. I mean, it's really creepy. It's a horror story. Like Blackest Night is written like a horror story.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I guess that makes sense.
yeah, and it's like everyone who comes back. It's like it's only people who matter to the people who are alive and rocking rings. In some cases, people who aren't rocking rings but are part of the battle. Um, and then the White Lantern. There's really only one White Lantern, and it's but it can deputize people. So there's more of them temporarily. But it's about life, so it represents life, whereas the black one rings represent death. And then there's the purple lanterns, which are called the Indigo Tribe, and they deal with compassion. But what you learn in one of the comics is that they don't feel compassion. Everyone who has a purple ring put on them, it's forcing them to feel compassion. because all of them are criminals that have done bad things.
Huh.
So this was a way to rehabilitate them. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And actually, the person who created the Purple Lanterns was Abin Sur before he died.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, sir.
So what's the White Lantern's like powers?
They don't really have one. They brought back those 12 people and gave them a chance to do something. And what they really, it was all for the White Lantern. It picked these 12 people to come back and do seemingly random things, but all of the things they did led to the final avatar of Earth to be reborn, which was Swamp Thing. So it basically, the White Lantern needed Swamp Thing to live again so that life could persevere on Earth again. I guess so the White Lantern could be free, because if the White Lantern was on Earth trying to keep everything, going, and but it really needed the Earth to be run by the Green, which is like Mother Nature again, and so that's where Swamp Thing and yeah, right, exactly.
Interesting. So that's the White Lantern.
Yeah, so they kind of just
shit. I got other things to do.
Yeah, because what it did was then after Swamp Thing came back, the White Lantern bonded with Kyle Rayner, the Green Lantern, and it just turned him into the new White Lantern. So for a couple of years, he was just the White Lantern, Kyle Rayner, which was he kind of went out into space and just did more White Lantern biddings, like more missions that like to help other planets.
What were his powers during that time?
I mean, whatever White Lanterns do, I don't really remember.
That's fair. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what a White Lantern does on their own. I know when they're around Green Lanterns, they can affect other lantern colors. Like that's how all of them work. Like when a blue lantern is next to a Green Lantern's ring can charge past 100%. It can go up to like 200 or 300%. But also the Blue Lantern's hope is the only thing that can hurt a Red Lantern's rage. Like it's the only thing that can diminish, like neutralize their rage.
Oh, Green Lanterns can't beat Red Lanterns?
Not without a Blue Lantern around.
And Yellow Lanterns can beat Green
They
Lanterns.
can beat Green Lanterns, but Green Lanterns, as long as they can overcome fear, they can beat Yellow Lanterns.
Who does Green Lanterns beat? Is it like rock, paper, scissors? Like everyone beats one person and then
everyone can beat
vulnerable to another?
Yeah, everyone can beat someone eventually. But it's easier with the other lanterns around to help you.
So are there any good Rage Lanterns?
Yeah, I love Atrocitus. He's the main Red Lantern. I really love him. Bleeze, it's basically the word bleed, but with a Z at the end. Bleeze is awesome. She's like this crazy vampire chick with demon wings. She's awesome. And then there's a Red Lantern cat from Earth, which it had its own origin story where it had an owner, and someone breaks into the apartment and kills the owner. And the cat got angry, and a red ring showed up and went on the cat on its paw, and then the cat like started vomiting lava all over the guy, and it like killed him.
That's great. Good cat.
Yeah,
like,
it's the cat's called.
That's great. I would love
the
if
cat's
he
name
vomited lava all over my murderers.
All the Red Lanterns vomit lava.
Is that their only power? They just vomit lava?
No, it's like a secondary power.
Do they really just spew lava randomly? Like they have
not
lava
randomly
burps?
when they want to.
They just have lava breath. I wonder if you could concentrate it into like a Godzilla beam.
Well, they can use beams with their rings. Like,
yeah.
This is great because this scene right here is pulled from Alien Resurrection, the fourth Alien movie. But the screams he makes, it's so gross. It's so awesome.
Yeah, those are always, I'm like, oh, that's so unsettling.
Yeah, because he's like, and you just hear all the bones crunching. You're just like, God dang.
Does that happen in Alien Resurrection? I don't remember. I never saw that movie.
That's how they kill it at the end, and because it's a human alien hybrid, and it's
Oh,
so
I didn't know that was in Resurrection.
yeah, so it's like it's got like a shape of an alien head, but it's got like eyes in there, and it's like reaching out for Sigourney Weaver because it's technically Sigourney Weaver's child, and
Ew,
and
she's
it's like
got weird kids.
yeah, she's like reaching out to her, and it's like mommy, mommy. It's like its face is getting sucked in, and it's making these awful sounds, and I was like, oh god, like it's so it's scar it leaves a scar, man.
Yeah, it's not a good way to go. It's
Yeah,
like
oh yeah. I
getting
mean,
sucked
it's
down
not.
through a pool drain.
Yeah, I'm getting butt onlyed here. Yes, Andrew, it's not actual lava; it's blood, but it burns like lava. Um, yeah, so rage pumps through their heart, so they'll upchuck all their blood, but the blood burns. So it's yeah,
It's acid lava blood.
yeah, yeah. Guy Gardner became a Red Lantern at one point. Andrew says, yeah, that's right, he did.
I mean, like
It's okay, Andrew. You're awesome, dude.
the White Lanterns get to raise people from the dead, and then you go to the Red Lanterns, they're like, we throw up blood.
And it burns.
You know, yeah.
It'll burn your arm off.
What a, like you're like God? What a spectrum of powers.
Yeah. So this is neat. So the Green Lantern ring, it does not allow you to kill. It won't let you take a life unless you later on they find a way to like change that rule in extreme circumstances where you can be like ring, take off safety protocol, but it's like it's hard to get that approval. But they add that later.
They're like,
But so
off
here,
requisite form 1924.
right, it's like a cop having a gun, but the safety's always on, or they shoot rubber bullets. Um, so so Hal, it seems, used his ring to kill somebody. Like as far as like using an actual beam to kill somebody, um, and that's not possible, but that's what it looks like. But obviously, he's being framed for it. Um, yeah. Yeah, getting your organs pulled out is definitely in my top 5 worst ways to die too, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean that sounds terrible. Like slowly eaten by a serial killer would probably be up there.
Yeah, that's not a good way to go either.
Ebola.
Yeah. Ebola. Yeah, no, it's not good either.
Um, Plane crash and trapped on mountain.
I love the other lanterns they put in this movie because, like, you would think they would just focus just on Hal and Sinestro and everything, but they put like Boudica has like a scene with Hal, which I really like. Kilowog here. You had Chip and Arisha in the background too. So yeah, it's just it's cool. I mean, I love all these characters. I love the Green Lantern Corps is just so freaking full of awesome characters.
Yeah, they all seem fun. Like it seems like a diverse cast. Like like everyone seems different.
Yeah. They really go crazy with it. I love it.
He's been put in chains, green chains.
Yeah. But like Sinestro didn't have his back. Sinestro is like, well, yeah, looks like he did it.
Yeah, like I guess he's a murderer.
And he's like, but I'm not. He's like, we shouldn't like punish him harshly. Just take away his ring and send him back to Earth. But that's just because he wants Hal out of the way.
He's like, just get him out of here. This guy's too nice.
Yeah.
He's got a.
I love that.
Do the rings change size, or just like
Yeah,
have
Killer
to
has a
find like bigger fingers?
no, yeah, I guess they do change to fit the person they go on. Yeah, because there's some aliens that don't even have fingers. There's an actual bug, like a fly named Buzzed.
Yeah, like how does the ring go on the cat?
It goes on its paw, and then Buzzed, I think, has the ring around his stinger tail because he looks like a hornet. Yeah, and I think they try to explain the squirrel at one point. I think they just said like he's not an Earth squirrel. He's just there's like a planet of squirrels out there.
I love it's like really that's what we need to try to explain in the DC universe is what the Squirrel Lantern came
Right.
from.
Right. Kanjaro, that's his name. That
We
was
need
the villain
squirrel
earlier.
lore.
Yeah, there's a whole planet of squirrels. Who gives a shit?
Oh God, so sorry.
That's okay, man. I know we're starting this later than we normally do, so I get it.
I'm such an old man. You know that
All
about
right.
me.
I do know that about you. Well, next week we have our work cut out for us, so we can cut this short after the movie ends. Because next week we're gonna have like we're gonna be streaming for like off and on for like 5 hours.
I mean, it'll still be fun. It'll be a good day.
It will be. I'm
It'll probably be
curious.
the first time I talk to another person
Yeah.
the whole week.
Check this out. This is some screwed up shit. So basically, Sinestro figured out how to do things with the ring that people aren't aware of. He's literally he's connecting brain waves to get him to talk, even though he's dead.
Oh man.
Like they really push and like Sinestro's.
Yeah, he like shoots a woman up with heroin, and he's
Yeah.
like mind screwing a guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at this. And I actually like that they did this. Like normally when you have a scene like this, he'll be like, where am I look where do I need to look for this energy? And then he just says Quard, and then Sinestro will go, okay, thanks. But he's like, what is he trying to say? And he's like, you know what? Screw it, just show me. Like I love that. Like that they're taking their time.
Yeah, it's a little more visual.
Yeah, but it's a little messy too. Like it's like normally a scene is like, oh, let's button this up. And this is a little messy, but leads into some cool visuals. But then obviously he gets exposed now. You see the body just drop.
Yeah, it's like, oh, dead again, I guess.
Yeah. I love this.
Oh no, he has the energy rod.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Just imagine from Hal's perspective, this is his first day of work. I know.
It's just like, what is going on? You guys have a lot of drama. Like,
Right.
what do you do in this workplace? Like, this is so weird. I
Right.
thought you
Oh
were
yeah.
professionals. Does Sinestro become yellow? Becomes a yellow lantern?
He's definitely yeah, in the lore, he's definitely the first Yellow Lantern.
Oh, he's the first one.
Yeah. Oh, looks like he wasn't working alone.
Oh no.
It's neat that they did that with Boudica. Boudica, by the way, is she's known as a different type of lantern later on. She comes back as an alpha lantern.
What is that? Is because in Photoshop, alpha means invisible.
In Photoshop, alpha means invisible?
Yeah, like your alpha channel is like, you know, if you have a PNG
Yes.
and the edges are kind of cut out and it's not like a square thing and you can
Right,
put
right.
it over stuff, the stuff on the sides is the alpha channel.
Right. Well, in everything else, alpha means one or first.
Oh.
So
Well, I
alpha,
thought it had to do with color, so I was like, oh, alpha.
I know what you meant. I know. There is a lantern that is multicolored. I think
A
John
rainbow
Stewart
lantern?
kind of.
Why the fuck isn't Alan Scott the rainbow lantern? Like, really?
Oh, really?
That's not a bad joke. He should be. Like, that's...
Well, there's not a rainbow lantern, but it's like I can't remember. It happened recently. Yeah. Oh, boom. He's like a ultraviolet lantern.
Oh, an ultraviolet lantern?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, Andrew says here, Alpha Lanterns are like the internal affairs of the Guardians, the Green Lantern Corps. They were created. They're before the Lanterns. There was a group, a race of robots called the Manhunters, and that's what the Guardians created to protect the universe. But they were machines, and they obviously at one point went crazy, or they were able to be hacked into and rewritten, so they became a liability. So they locked up all the Manhunters, but then they had the Alpha Lanterns, which were created that were like Green Lanterns that get turned into like half robots.
Oh, so she got like cyborged.
Yeah, so she's kind of cyborged out. Um, so yeah,
Oh,
where's
Pete
my?
came and said hi to me.
Oh, Pete. Echo is hiding. He's like, take me to the bathroom when you're done with your stupid movie.
Yeah, Pete's like that too. He's like, I might not wait. I might just go to the bathroom somewhere. You don't
This
know.
reveal is so good. In a minute.
Oh, that's so.
Yeah.
Bloody.
So how he threw that core and it blew up and it launched her into the ceiling and killed her. I was like, that's so cool. And now her ring's gonna go find someone else. That's what I mean. Like you can be a Green Lantern and lose your way. Like I said, you're not worthy because you're a Green Lantern. Like you're still susceptible to falling. But that's what I like about it. It's like cops too. You know, there's bad cops. It's like that's how it is. But most of these guys are trying to do good. Um, and I always like that about them. Yeah, and this does not look good.
Yeah, he's like, oh shit.
Hal looks like a Green Lantern serial killer now.
And Sinestro comes away looking clean.
As clean as a whistle, man.
Until Kilogrog comes around.
Yeah.
Then he'll be like, betrayal, betrayal.
Betrayal. I love this thing's voice.
Oh man.
Do you guys enjoy? Oh, Jay Money wants to know if we enjoy the Green Lantern cartoon series. You've never seen that, right?
I haven't.
I think you would love the shit out of that. It's really good, and it's all about Red Lanterns.
Oh really? That's kind of cool.
That's like the main thread in the show is Red Lanterns. It's really cool. Look at these things. This is not how they look in the comics, by the way. Cordians in the comics look like dudes wearing Thor helmets. Like
What?
that's yeah. They just look like guys in yellow tights wearing Thor helmets. They look stupid.
This is kind of like Hellboy 2 Golden Army.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I love the designs in this. They just go so alien with it. I'm like, yes, that's
Yeah, it works
great.
really well.
Yeah. Yeah, that CGI Green Lantern series is amazing. I think you'd like it a lot. I think they even make up a Red Lantern for that show, and he became like a huge fan favorite. Here we go.
And Sinestro's like, oh, this might have been a bad idea.
Yeah. In the comics, so there's 3,600 sectors in the universe. That's so there's one Green Lantern for each sector, and then eventually it became two Green Lanterns. They decided to double up, so then 7,200 Green Lanterns were a thing. But then now Earth has like 8 Green Lanterns.
So this is a problem area. We're assigning more.
They got to assign more officers. But I love this. They all speak in unison. So creative.
So like a hive mind.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I love these guys. It's like, so there's one flaw to your ring. Yeah, what is it? You.
You have to use it. You have to
You
be a
have to
person
use it.
operating. That it
Yep.
can't operate on its own.
Yep. You're the imperfection. But so there's 3,600 sectors, right? That for the whole universe. But Quard is technically in a sector known as sector -1. It was like the known as the anti-sector or anti-monitor sector or something like that. So it's like the exception, which is how the green energy or the yellow energy was able to be forged there because it's outside the realm of the green energy.
And he's the only one, so he's like 1,000,000% charged, like
Yeah.
the orange. I feel like I'd be an orange lantern. I'm greedy.
Yeah. You would be? You'd be Larfleeze?
Yeah, I'd be like running around to like every bakery. I'd be like, give me a cinnamon roll and a cupcake.
You know what? You can actually make I can send you the recipe. You can make Larfleeze cookies.
Doesn't sound good. Do they
Oh,
make
they're
it
delicious.
insane?
Yeah, it's good. It's a regular cookie recipe, but they released a one shot where Larfleeze learns that there's a guy on Earth who hands out free presents every Christmas,
Oh,
and so he comes to kidnap Santa. And in the book, like there's like a just like a normally where they would put an ad, they put a recipe for Larfleeze Christmas cookies,
well, that's kind of fun.
which he leaves out for Santa to lure him. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. This scene is so awesome. Watch this. Yep, Tomar Ray's gone. Just all these rings just coming down from the sky. Like they really pushed the PG-13 on this one, honestly, because all of these concepts are terrifying.
Yeah, like the heroin, the being sucked out the thing, all the
Yeah.
murder, the raising from the dead. A lot of ominous.
Yep. I love the score. Like I said, the soundtrack. It's the only animated movie I own the soundtrack to. It's really good. Yeah, Quard is the antimatter. That's right, antimatter universe. It's nice to have Andrew here because honestly, I don't know a lot of people outside of Gene that know so much about Green Lantern. Like I feel like every time I show people my Green Lantern wallet, or if I'm wearing the ring, sometimes I'll wear the ring to work. People like go, really? like not a Batman shirt today? I'm like,
You're like, oh, Green Lantern. Right?
no love for Green Lantern.
No one likes that for some reason.
I don't know. I like Green Lantern.
It's like Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman is the. They got
That's
wind powers. That's what they got. That's their idea.
They shoot wind in space. That's not easy to do.
Yeah, but like that's what's destroying the Yellow Lantern.
Right.
I mean, I guess Green Lanterns are afraid of wood, and Yellow Lanterns could be afraid of wind.
Right.
Like a gentle breeze destroys a Yellow Lantern.
You can fart.
Or like a fan, like having a fan on in a room.
Fart into
you.
a fan.
Fart into a fan is the ultimate weapon against a Yellow Lantern.
This one's for Quard.
And someone's like, fine, I gotcha.
Yeah, the squirrel. I always wondered how Hal breathes on Oa without the ring. I'm sure there's an artificial atmosphere there, but I don't know if it's works for all beings.
Probably magic.
There's a couple of really interesting. Grant Morrison just wrote Green Lantern for 2 years. There's some weird ass Green Lantern stories in that run. It's the art's amazing, but
I'd read his run. That sounds kind of fun. Is there a good just start at the beginning sort of thing, or does it?
It literally, if you've never read a Green Lantern comic, you could probably follow that. It's a little abstract, like Grant Morrison normally is. I think in issue like 2 or 3, there's a literal sneeze that is a Green Lantern.
A sneeze, like someone sneezes and the sneeze becomes a Green Lantern.
Some kind of sneeze is like alive.
Like the bacteria of
Yeah.
like a sneeze.
Yeah, it's like a bacteria lantern. But yeah, I mean, if you just read that, I mean, that's out in trade now, and uh, I'm sure you'd follow it. You could also, well, it's nothing like the regular universe Green Lantern, but you know how DC puts out those Earth One graphic novels?
Yeah.
They did a Green Lantern one. They did 2 volumes of it. It's very different than this, but I really liked it. I thought it was cool.
This reminds me of the servitors from Destiny 2.
Yeah, for sure. Big time, right?
Yeah.
This is what's his name? Rasputin?
Yeah, Rasputin.
Yeah.
Fine, have your ring back. Like it'll do much good, you're one man.
Ooh. Goodbye, green battery. Yeah, I agree. Probably some kind of atmosphere exists, but I mean, do they breathe oxygen? Like, because Hal breathes oxygen.
Yeah, like I don't know if the rest of them would all breathe the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. There's something Roplop Finn or Roplop Bell or something like that. Andrew just mentioned there's a Green Lantern that is blind, so he manifests his constructs through sound as a bell, which is pretty neat. So his race is like blind, so he uses sound to create his constructs or something like that. He creates a bell, I think. But yeah, his name's like Roplop Fenn or something like that. Yeah, there's some cool shit in Green Lantern lore. Literally everyone who's written Green Lantern for the past 15 years, I've asked them to make me a Green Lantern in their comic.
You're like do it.
I think Rob Venditti, Jeff Johns, the current writer, Jeffrey Thorne, who's coming up. Like, I've asked all of them. I'm so pathetic. Like, I'm like, please make me a Green Lantern. And they're like, sometimes they'll be like, well, what sector do you want to be? I'm like, 511, because there's no Green Lantern of sector 511, and that's my birthday. And I'm like, so make it so. And nobody has. I'm like, I could appear on 2 panels and get killed by Solomon Grundy. I don't care. I want to be immortalized as a Green Lantern. That's the only thing left on my bucket list. Like, please do it. Look at this. That's a horrifying. Yeah, so he destroyed the battery, so all the rings shut off. So they just died out in space.
Yeah, like people flying through space, like minding their own business, were just suddenly dead.
Like, he just killed like 3,000 beings off camera. Like, that's how little they meant to him. But these were all his partners, like the people he worked with at one point. So this is a little change to the lore, this crystal that's kind of at the base of the battery. But there's a reason for that. There is essentially, in the power batteries of all the lantern colors, there is an entity there. It's not really shown to be a crystal in the other versions, but in this version, the being is encapsulated in the crystal. So you're going to see he's going to become.
What are the beings like?
They represent the emotion in the color spectrum. So like yellow has Parallax, which was the villain in the live action Green Lantern movie, the big fart cloud with a face. That's Parallax, and that's what essentially is at the heart of the fear in the Yellow Lantern Corps. The Red Lanterns have the Bull, or the Butcher, which is the bull that comes from the rock that Abel used to kill, or Cain used to kill Abel. And then Green Lanterns have Ion. So Ion is at the center. So we're about to see Ion, actually.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So Ion can possess you, but doesn't always go well. But in this case, it realizes its extinction is at hand. So it's going to help Hal Jordan.
It's like, fine. I'll get off the couch.
When it comes to lanterns, I don't have a preference, at least between black and white lanterns. I feel like they're both kind of they work in that one story, and I kind of wish they were never used again. uh, I like the other colors way more. I think my favorite is probably the Indigo tribe, the purple lanterns, because I like the concept of a bunch of criminals that were forced to feel compassion for their crimes, and then when they lose their rings, they're rehabilitated and they don't want to kill anymore. I think that's pretty cool.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's essentially like Ion is
he's like a super god.
Yeah, he's exactly right. Him and an alien entity have merged, and they have the power of what the power battery would be. So, yeah. Yeah, Parallax is a giant bug in the comic. He looks like a bug in the comic books.
Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah, he's like a giant, like multi-armed insect-looking thing. But in the movie, he was a dumb fart cloud.
Oh yeah, he was that dumb fart cloud.
Yeah.
God, it's not bug-like at all.
No, it's not.
God, I just can't get over the servitor nature. It just moves a lot like it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't their costumes disappear if they don't have the rings anymore?
They have the rings, they just have no power in them.
But all the rings got crushed. Sinestro just took them all.
Oh, did he? He took all of their rings?
I thought so. I thought he took all the rings except Kilogrog's or whatever.
Oh, I think most of them still had the rings. I know the rings rained down. He did crush one. That's true. I love this. It's got a big old dent in it.
Yeah.
That's
He's got
awesome.
a baseball bat now.
Yeah. Peanut butter jelly and a baseball bat. This is what I like about Hal. Hal makes very like blunt and direct things with his constructs. He's not creative. I feel like you personally would probably be a big fan of Kyle Rayner, because Kyle Rayner is an actual artist, like a comic book artist. So his constructs are the most creative out of like all the.
That's kind of cool that he gets kind of funkier with it.
Yeah, I love it. He's also the first one to redesign the costume, because he's like, this is a kind of retro. I think I'll design a new costume.
That's funny.
And Kyle single-handedly, in his run, unfortunately, Kyle's run starts off really with a very big pivotal moment. It actually changed comic books after that a little bit, because that's where the term comes from. I don't know if you ever heard it, where it's called being refrigerated. Kyle Rayner has a girlfriend in the comics, and like 6 issues into his run as the new Green Lantern after Hal, his girlfriend gets killed by a guy named Major Force and shoved into a refrigerator. And he comes home and opens the refrigerator and finds his girlfriend's dead body folded up. And basically, Gail Simone wrote an article about that, saying we need to stop killing female characters to give male characters like motivation to do things. So she coined the term refrigerated. And so after that, they, the writers of Kyle try to go, okay, well, we did it, so we can't undo it, but we gotta let's lean him in a different direction. So what happened is, at one point, all the Green Lanterns were wiped out, and Kyle was the only Green Lantern in all 3,600 sectors. And his book,
so he was just in charge of the whole universe, basically.
The whole universe was, Kyle had to protect it, and his book got really cool after that. Yeah, this fight sequence is amazing. I love this. And Hal's scrappy. Like he's like a scrappy guy. Like he's not like,
I feel like he hits hard and he's just like really just trying to like, I might not win, but you're not gonna feel good in the morning.
Right, exactly. Like, you'll know you fought me tomorrow. Here we go.
And Kilogrog's like, yeah, I still got my ring.
Kilowog's the best. For a long time, they took him away from protecting any space sectors, and they assigned him to be the drill sergeant for new recruits. Um,
Oh, that's kind of cool. I could
and
get that.
I love that. So on his home planet, new recruits are called, or on his planet, he was in the military, and his drill sergeant used to call him Poozer, which means like rookie. So like when he is the drill sergeant on Oa and he's training all these new recruits, he just calls them all Poozers. And it's so it's one of those words where it's like a
Term of
catchphrase.
endearment almost.
Yeah. But he's like, come on, Poozers. Honestly, you know what would be a good way to do a Green Lantern movie? You could do the training day route, but I think another fun way would be Starship Troopers.
Oh,
Uh,
that'd be kind of fun. Yeah.
do Green Lantern like Starship Troopers, like with that kind of like campiness and goofiness and fun.
And then someone gets their brain sucked out at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but I really love that. I love that movie first of all, but that has a very military vibe to it, and I think that would work in Green Lantern. What's up, Kason? How's it going?
Oh, look at the fans.
Don't fall into it.
Oh, they
There
roll
we
in a bed.
I love that. Kiss already.
Yeah, kiss him.
There's an episode of the animated series, the CGI one we were talking about earlier, where it shows how Kilowog became the drill sergeant, and it shows him being trained when he was a young Poozer. It's awesome. It's a really awesome episode.
Oh, that's kind of cool. We'll have to maybe do some of the animated series when we get through.
For sure. Well, there's another Green Lantern movie we can always watch later on, like in a couple. Maybe I'll pick it in a couple months. But
Emerald Knight.
Emerald Knights, yeah, and it's like 6 short stories that are that
Strung
focus
together.
on different Green Lanterns. Yeah,
Oh, that's kind of cool.
yeah, you might like that one. You just fart
Yeah. Did it pick it up?
on camera? Yeah, fucking
Yeah, awesome. I'm so happy that picked up.
I was like, what the fuck was that? But I saw you do this.
You saw me lean.
I saw the lean. That's hilarious. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that at home.
You got a fart out of me.
You got a fart out of him. That's when you know he's tired.
I mean, that's, yeah. I'm just like, oh, fuck. Pete, yeah, my dog just walked away.
He's like, holy shit, bro.
Yeah, he just stood up and he was like, I guess I'm going to the other side of the room. Oh, he's shaking. He probably needs not shaking. He's just rustling.
Boom. That's one thing I liked about the live action movie they did was they found a way for them to quickly get to Oa and back to Earth with like it was almost like a teleportation thing where they went through like hyperspace. And I'm like, oh, I like that. Because here they just like they made like a ship and they flew to. I'm like, that's got to take forever.
It was like, we have hyperspace. We
Like,
warped it. We want warp 10.
Yeah, like how Jordan comes back to Earth and like, dude, where you been the last 6 years?
And it's like, oh, learning to be a Green Lantern. I got this cool ring now. I'm married to the Force.
Hey, Andrew, man, have a good night. Thank you for popping in and thanks for talking Green Lantern with us, dude. That was nice because like I said, I don't always have people who know like around my level, if not more than me, about Green Lantern. So that's always good.
Oh, man.
So what'd you think, dude?
I liked it. It was a fun kind of. It's one of those movies that you're like, oh, I didn't expect it to get that dark.
Yeah, no, they really push it on this one.
They do, and it's kind of fun because it's surprising.
Right. Like you see the PG-13 rating at the beginning, you're like, okay, but then it really earns it, like, because you're literally watching a woman being forced to OD. Like you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, because you're like, oh, it's PG-13. I guess Hal. They put one of those like scantily clad scenes in there, maybe.
Right. Sure.
They do in these comic book movies, like Harley Quinn, like buddies up to Deadshot or something.
Right, and that's why, like, when people sometimes will say to me, like, "Oh, you can't do like hardcore things in PG-13," I'm like, this felt pretty hardcore.
Yeah, there
in
were
some
some pretty hardcore scenes. Maybe it snuck by them because it was animated. Because I feel like if you had done this in a live action Green Lantern movie, they'd be like, "What? Someone got sucked out through a hole? We saw the crunching."
Yeah, we heard the crunching and the screaming. And then we got like a woman who got forced to OD. We see a dead corpse get reanimated to confess where the weapon is. Like Jesus. Like
Yeah, one of the central characters gets like stabbed in a
yeah.
like with a bunch of machinery.
Yeah, with a bunch of spikes going through her. Yeah, man, that's some cool shit. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you like.
Thousands of Green Lanterns die.
Yeah, like literally like 3,000, 4,000. Well, not there's not 4,000 of them, but like yeah, at least
Starts
3,000.
raining rings.
Yeah, just rain and rings. Hallelujah. Was that your first time seeing First Flight?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not. If I had seen it, I haven't seen it in a while.
Okay, fair enough. Um, well, let's real quickly talk about next week, and then I'll let you go so we can both get some sleep.
That's fine.
Um,
Go ahead.
So next week we're going to be watching. Both Alex and I are off. Me from my job, him from school. So we will probably around noon, maybe, start the Snyder Cut on HBO Max. So if you guys want to watch along with us, we're going to do 3 separate streams. So we're going to watch the first 2 parts, which I think Zach said in his interview with Grace Randolph that should be about an hour and 20 minutes to an hour and a half. So we'll watch that, and once chapter 3 or whatever pops up, we'll stop the movie there, and we'll give a little outro and say goodbye, and we'll stop the stream. And then we'll probably wait about 20 or 30 minutes, refill our drinks, snacks. I'll walk Echo, he'll walk Pete. We'll do all that stuff, and then we'll come back, like around 2:00, watch another hour and a half to get us up to chapter 5, take another break, and then we'll come back and start the third and final stream. And that way, no one has to sit and listen to a full 4.5 hour, YouTube video with us. You can watch.
I just can't imagine most people will want to watch.
Yeah, I feel like if we do it,
movie, like I feel like a lot of people, like there's gonna be people who are fans who are gonna like, oh, we're gonna watch it basically in one sitting.
right?
But I think a lot of people who might see this come on, they're like, oh, the new extended Justice League. I'll watch an hour here or there. It's 4 hours long.
Right. Yeah, but then this way, like anyone who's following along at home, we don't get too lost with the time codes either. It's like
there's kind of a reset point.
Right. Because then they can listen to one, watch a little bit of the movie with us, and then they say, you know what, I want to watch the rest of the movie without these guys. So good. You end the stream, and then watch the next parts. And then you're like, you know what, I do want to hear what they have to say about the second half of the movie.
Yeah, they're like, geez, they're really making this movie bad. And then they see it without us, and they're like, oh, God, bring them back.
So that'll be fun. That'll be coming up next week. And then the week after that, Alex invited Shuddy Boy on. And or Will, I think.
He confirmed.
Okay, so on the 25th, I think it is, of March, we will be watching with a third guest. We will have Shuddy Boy here, and we will be watching New Frontier, Justice League New Frontier, which I'm very excited about. And then we will probably next week, after next week's episode, we'll reach out to Kevin and see what we can line up with him for the first week of April.
Yeah, and then we'll solve the Jeff problem.
Yeah, we'll get Jeff for a record.
We'll find a movie for Jeff to watch.
And then maybe I'll probably see if Gene wants to come on after the Mad Scientist Party Hour guys come on, because Gene got his new computer and he's like ready and set up to go.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, let's see what movie he wants to pick.
Yeah, and I'll reach out to him and see which one he wants to check out. So
we should start making a list of the ones we've watched.
Yeah, we're already getting in. I mean, luckily it's a short list of 6 right now, but I'll definitely get that going. Well, I have a playlist, so I can always look at the playlist and see which ones we did.
Yeah, that's true. Just write them down, just so we're like can send them to like Gene and.
Right. Here's the ones we've seen or watched already, and the ones we're about to watch. So pick any other ones.
Yeah, go through it. It's up to you. It's gonna get down to like 4 movies, and we're gonna like have someone on, and we're gonna be like, pick any movie of these 4 you like.
Right. Awesome. So is that it? Did we cover everything?
I think so.
Cool.
Pretty covered.
Yeah, man. I'm so tired. So I'm gonna walk Echo, and I think I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna take Pete out, but he went to sleep. He was like, "I'm not waiting for you."
You knocked him out with your fart.
I did. He went and slept. He went right to his bed after I farted.
Awesome. Well, Alex, as always, man, it's a pleasure. I loved having you, and this is a lot of fun. Even when we're tired, it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, it was cool. I'm
And
glad we got to do this week still.
I'm off Tuesday and Wednesday next week, and I have a feeling all day Wednesday I'm sleeping, so that way I have enough energy for the whole day of Snyder Cut on Thursday.
Cut.
Yeah, dude. So I'll see you then, man, and let's keep in touch in between now and then too.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep in touch. I don't know. I'll talk to you soon. We usually talk like every other day.
I know, right? I'll talk to you in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey man, what's up? You eating nachos?
Awesome. We'll get some sleep, dude, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching. Peace, motherfuckers.